Welcome
to
to the Nothing
Broadcast.
Broadcast. They say you can't teach empathy, but you can certainly sing the blues about it. Here are some things I see when I close my eyes. Standing on a scaffold, looking down at steel cables while a technician and I engage in small talk. He reaches into a pulley box that looks like it could be holding reels of film. He disassembles the pulley box covers and pulls one of the steel cables. A distorted face of an unkempt man spools forth, caught between the pulleys, stretched. He looks so tired. Talking to a heavily tattooed man in a fish and chips shop about a sordid past. His tattoos are script, and they change into the sentences he's saying every time I look back at him. I compulsively look away and back to try and expedite the conversation, but he figures out my game. I want to see if I can read before he says. I want to see his secrets. I'm greedy for them. I thirst for the violence, the drugs, the animal itches on now exercised skin. I am desperate for more and more of his cleverly hidden truths. Look at me, he says, and then he stops talking. His tattoos read on his eyelids, I don't live that life anymore. A gallery of specific moments of my life. I used to have a dream where I would walk around a dilapidated commercial space that was nothing but doors, ductwork, pipes, and stained mustard carpet, worn down and black, in sections that suggest high traffic over a long time. I felt with urgency that I needed to choose a door, but I knew what lay behind all of them. Any one door would lead to a nightmare scenario that would play out almost the exact same way. Each door was consistent, too. The same door led to the same nightmare. Then I would have to wake up in the room and have to choose again. I'm watching myself from behind one of the doors, much older now. A couple moves into a house. There's a bed in the basement, and one of them cannot leave it. There is a pleasant, numbing tiredness that keeps her there. There is an inexplicable weight, a presence, and a draw, crushing gradually more and more tightly. The man feels it too. They lay together, crushed tighter and tighter. The woman has been in there for days. Her bones are crushed by the bodies of those taken by the bed. The man finds it harder and harder to leave each night. One night, the woman wraps her hands around the man's ankles tight as he moves to leave the bed. There is a parade of spirits that begins marching towards the bed. In a spiral, they all climb in, they all crush inwards from the outside, rolling in and in and in and down. From the centermost folds of the sheets hangs the woman's head and shoulders, barely cresting, smiling, but so tired, dark bags, a hollowness, circles of pure sleeplessness hanging below, an unblinking, unyielding, piercing stare. The husband struggles, kicking, pulling, prying, begging. The wife will not come. She cannot. Her eyes are milky, pale white, pleading, teeth snapping with spittle, breath chattering and manic. There is no give from the spirits as they pile on and in and down and in and down and on, shuffling past and through the husband, dragging him closer, inch by inch, as the wife's bones contort and snap and crush into nothing. Her arms stretch, bonelessly now, her hands tighten and weave into the husband's toes. Come lay with me. Come lay with me. Come lay with me and all of our children. The husband has to break all of her fingers to be free, folding them backwards, one after another, as she is lost to the parade, blissful and crushed, smaller and smaller, soundlessly bound into nothing, rapturously nothing. I wake up and my foot still tingles from her grasp. Sometimes I'm still haunted by the woman's eyes. I used to have nightmares very often, when I was younger in particular, about the house that we lived in. There was a presence in the basement, in the furnace room right at the foot of the stairs. Many nightmares, or even the beginning of regular dreams, I would feel a tugging on my body or on my clothes towards the mouth of the stairwell, down the landing. It would get stronger and stronger until eventually it lifted me up off my feet. I would grab onto anything I could, door frames, furniture, fixtures, but I could never hold on, and nobody would ever be around to hold on to me. I would get pulled down the steps. The lights would quickly dim and fade to black, and then I'd wake up. I could never see any entities there, but I could always feel at least one. It felt like multiple, but there was at least one. I could feel them. I could feel their shapes, dark shadows moving, standing, or staring, waiting for me, waiting for anyone. Later years, other entities would come to occupy that basement. There was a lady. I knew her very well. I came to know her very well. She was a burn victim. She was under the stairs. I got a little older, I got stronger, and I could resist the pulls. The phantom pulling from the dreams before. I could run up the stairs and escape the basement. But she would grab my legs through the stairs, laughing, grinning. I could feel her smile, her excitement. As I got a little older, I could feel her lust. Later, I would meet her in other nightmares, in abandoned schools, in hospitals, her burn ward. But I'm not sure if I'm ready to share those dreams yet. Later, I came to learn there was a small hole in the wall at chest height that passed from the main room to the wall of the furnace room that was shared with a guest bedroom and terminated against the foundation wall there. Someone had been shot in that house. I was sure of it. And when the internet came around, we looked it up, and it was true. That address had a homicide in it. Later, I'd ask my mom, my sisters, and my friends about it, anyone who'd stayed at the house. They would always freeze and say they also had dreams not too dissimilar from mine. And I still wonder how real that is. I'm a lot less afraid now. Some people say that we actually dream in black and white, or most of us do. I think that's a bit erroneous. You can convince yourself that you don't see colors in dreams because it's very easy to forget the harder you try to remember. Luckily for me, I have a few recurring locales that help me remember that I do dream in color. Sometimes I'll revisit them, and there's this strange presence and awareness the characters and archetypes within the dreams have when we remember each other. But almost like there's a plot we have to hit the key points on before we can all drop the facade and interact normally. Very little changes except that the dream can run its course a bit more quickly. We've rehearsed this after all. Before long, I realize that it is in fact a dream. 100% awareness, and it begins to fizzle. And I talk to the characters. I talk to the faces. I apologize. I can't look directly at them. A dark, static vignette creeps into the edges of my vision, and it creeps in more and more the longer I look at one of the characters. I have to stare at the ground, and I apologize. This is a dream, I say. None of this is real. I don't know if I can ever come back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I'll wake up weeping sometimes. I wrote this down hoping it wouldn't make me cry, so I'm sorry if it does. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. Another haunt of mine, and I quote, "I had a chance to be home, but there's so much work to do." This is something I've also dreamt about. There's been a couple times I genuinely believe I was given the option to die in my sleep while dreaming, but turned it away. Floating up and up, or walking down to an altar, about to drive past an exit, the context of everything changed, and I suddenly became aware of the choice I was being offered, the choice I was making, the sensation of warmth, contentedness, that I was coming home, and I was welcome and awaited, and there were billions of voices, all aware of each other, all suddenly aware of me, going quiet. I want to come home so badly, but there's so much left to do. There's so much work to do. And then I wake up. Even in my bed, it felt so much colder than those dreams.